What's up, guys? Thanks as always for supporting the show. It would mean a lot to me if you would take a second to scroll down and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any more of our videos. Also, make sure you follow us all over social media so you don't miss any of our content or show announcements. And in a close game late, Anthony Edwards actually turned out to be the better half-court shot creator. So regardless of what the numbers say, we had a 103-103 with 4 minutes left, mostly half-court basketball, and Ant just badly outplayed the Laker half-court shot creators. Obviously, context there being Luka, whatever the illness that he was dealing with tonight. But what really impressed me specifically was the way that Anthony Edwards got the job done. They started moving his ISOs to the top of the key, which I thought was interesting. The ISOs that he had been running on the slot, meaning like more towards the wing, they allow the Lakers to be more planned in their approach. So, for instance, with Anthony Edwards on the right slot, or right wing, that defender is going to overplay the middle and try to funnel Ant towards the player who's digging down off the corner and the guy who's helping out from under the rim, effectively making him play 1-on-3 on his drives. We talked about this in our film sessions. A lot of Ant's layups in this series have been rip through the primary defender, gather through the guy digging down from the corner, and then some sort of slaloming move around the dude at the rim so that he can get a layup. They move him to the top of the key, and one of the things that does is it puts Ant in a position where the defender guarding him has to square him up. One of the reasons why that matters is on the wing, when you can overplay a side, you can actually use that arm that you're using to overplay the side to get closer on the pull-up jump shot because you're less worried about giving up dribble penetration because you have more of a plan for it. But at the top of the key there, if you lean up like that, you can give up dribble penetration and be in some trouble. And so he was able to hit 2 step-back threes in one-on-one situations where he was able to shed the defender. That first one against Luka at the top of the key, big part of that is he's got Luka squared up. He's able to get that, little bit of backwards momentum so that he can do that pullback dribble and get separation for his shot. And like, as I was talking about with Pete on the broadcast, like the Lakers kind of have to live with that. There's a certain amount of Anthony Edwards pull-up 3 that they're going to have to live with unless they start doubling, which we did see a little bit of, and I do think we'll see some more of that later in the series, but we'll talk about that in a minute. The play that I thought demonstrated the growth was the assist to Naz Reid off the left wing. So he hits the step back over Luka. It's 106-103. And he gets a drive along the right baseline. And instead of trying to force something up, he elevates and rifles a pass to Naz Reid on the left wing, and he knocks down a 3. Those reads have been there for Ant throughout the series. We talked about in Game 2 in our film session. It wasn't so much that the Lakers did compete more than they did in Game 1, but the same reads were available. The strong side corner reads were there. Ant didn't make it a single time in Game 2 after he made it several times in Game 1. The skip pass was there. He was getting into the teeth of the defense, and some of those passes were getting deflected or getting sent into areas where they were tougher for guys to attack off of. In tonight's game, just decisive down the stretch, knew exactly what he wanted to do, rifles that pass to Naz Reid. He knocks down the 3. Gets LeBron in a switch, crosses him up and gets into the basket for a layup. Just surgical down the stretch. And that was the difference. It was 103-103. They end on a 13-1 run, fueled almost entirely by Anthony Edwards in his half-court shot creation. And that's really the thing. Like, as I mentioned, the Wolves have these overwhelming advantages in the margins, right? Like, they are the bigger, more athletic team. They forced 19 turnovers tonight that lead to 28 points. They have 56 points in the paint compared to just 26 for the Lakers. If Anthony Edwards can shrink the half-court gap with that level of shot making, with that level of decision making, that's where the Wolves have the potential to end this series sooner than later. Because if they're the better half-court team and they're the better, detail margin team, that's where they can end up in some trouble. Now, there's obviously going to be games in this series where Luka doesn't look like he did tonight. I thought Luka looked like an absolute shell of himself in every phase of the game. There was a clear and concerted effort from the Wolves early in the game to attack Luka and ISO. We even saw that down the stretch with the shot that Ant hit. That was inevitable. We heard a ton of that after the game in the press conferences. We had a feeling that the Wolves coaching staff would emphasize that. They did. The Timberwolves made a very concerted effort to attack Luka, and it was exacerbated by the fact that Luka just looked slow The dead giveaway that you could tell Luka wasn't himself was he looked surprised by ball pressure and he looked surprised by help defense. But like getting into the teeth of the defense and drawing a second body and then just trying to shoot and getting blocked. Or Jaden McDaniels jumping him along the left wing on one of his early catches with some ball pressure, and Luka just looked like he was just like surprised by it as he coughed the ball up. Like there was just this was a game where Luka was unable to overcome the physical circumstances that he was dealing with. And I thought that really hurt the Lakers down the stretch. As great as LeBron was, and obviously LeBron was incredible tonight on both ends of the floor. His shot making was the best we've seen from him since he came back from his groin injury. That pull-up transition three he hit was like one of the most difficult shots I've seen him take under the circumstances. Kind of reminded me of the shot Steph hit against Amen Thompson near half court, where it was like sprinting to his right, kind of forward, just left-right footwork, elevates, just sticks it. You could just tell he just had great lift and he stuck it. But LeBron is not going to be able to really create offense in the half court as effectively as Luka can when he's right. And that was really the difference in the game tonight. When they got it to 103-103, it was going to be Anthony Edwards versus Luka Doncic, and Luka just didn't have it tonight. And Anthony Edwards showed what his ultimate potential is. I was talking with Pete on the broadcast, like it's been really hard for me in this series because all of you guys who are longtime listeners of the show know that Anthony Edwards is one of my favorite players. And having to root against him is not a fun experience. But I have so much excitement for Ant with his big picture potential simply because of the fact that there's really nothing you can do to stop him from either creating a clean look for himself or him being able to dart through the lane, elevate, and make a high-level kick-out pass. You can't stop him from doing one of those two things. The shot that he gave up, that he hit on DFS, the shot that he hit on Luka, you have to concede those. If you take them away, he will go right around you all night long. And so really that's the big picture potential with Ant that's so exciting. Once he learns to really read all these defensive schemes, that is where he's going to be able to just oscillate between high-level aggression, high-level kick-out passes based on, what the defense is giving or taking away from him. And that's where he's going to be able to float his offense for larger portions of games through higher level playmaking. This kid is barely scratching the surface of what he's capable of being as a basketball player. And it's scary to think about 27-year-old Ant when he still has the 45-inch vertical or whatever the hell he has. And he still is the 42% high volume, 10 threes a game type of guy, but a guy that can get up into that 5, 6, 7 assists per game, high level kick out reads, really starting to become the half court surgeon. And before the season, I said Anthony Edwards was the 5th best player in the league that I would pick to lead a franchise from the start of the season through the NBA Finals. And there was another side to that take involving me bumping Tatum down to 7, which ended up being the wrong part of that. Tatum was fantastic again tonight, at least for the parts that I watched. And I think that if you were to list the top 4 players in the league, it's pretty clearly Jokic, it's Giannis, it's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, it's Jason Tatum, maybe Luka again at some point soon if he can get physically right. But Anthony Edwards to me is arguably that 5th guy. So here we are in April, and Ant through the course of this season from October to now has shown the growth as a jump shooter, has shown the growth as a half-court shot creator. Think about it in Game 1, too. He was fantastic in Game 1. 9 assists, 1 turnover. He's been playing at a higher level as a half-court decision-maker than he has at any point in his career. And I think you can make the case that he's encroaching on that top tier of guys with the level of play that he's reaching. I think that the Lakers are going to have to start considering double teaming him. We saw a little bit of it towards the end of the game, right after he already put things away, specifically picking him up earlier in the possession out towards half court. The Wolves are not very attentive in those situations, flashing and quickly breaking down the defense in those situations. I think the Lakers are going to have to consider doing that if Ant continues to find that kind of groove in the fourth quarter. It's not something that I would just bring out first quarter right away, but it's something that I would consider pulling out a little sooner in game 4 than JJ pulled it out in game 3. But all around, just much smarter approach from the Wolves tonight, attacking Luka instead of just, hunting the Lakers' better perimeter defenders. Anthony Edwards, the half-court surgeon down the stretch, and then they are the physically dominant team. They were able to get the Lakers to let go of the rope tonight.